Okay, folks, quick change in match schedule. We're going to have our last match of the day, Tony Ferrara versus um, Camilo Medina. And it looks like Tony Ferrara has won the lag, racing to 35 points. Enjoy this match. Looks like Geraldine is going to join us briefly. I guess she's got stuff on her mind.
When you say just briefly, does that mean you're going to kick me off?
No, no. It just means that, we've had very little commentary during this whole event, so I wouldn't imagine you'd stay very long.
Oh, well, I am.
Okay, you're going to hang for the duration. I know that this is an event that you look forward to now every year, isn't it, Geraldine?
Yeah, it is. It's actually my favorite event that we cover.
Yep. Last year, you provided the coverage by yourself. I was only there for the first day, and then I had to go to Vegas. So, and we were at last year. We were at $1 Million Billiards, weren't we?
Yes.
Yeah.
Tony Ferrara starts out with a 3-point inning.
Yep.
Tony is ranked number 11 of the final 12, and Camilo is ranked number 12.
11 and 12.
Yeah. And although they are the lowest ranked players that we have in the field, for the final round, I will say they've shown probably the most heart.
Mm.
Maybe not the most, but yeah, I mean,
How do you measure
not
how do
one
you measure
complaint,
heart?
not one complaint, always willing and ready to get up to the table and play.
Yeah.
It says a lot.
Oh.
Do we know where Camilo is based out of?
Honestly, no, I don't know much about Camilo.
I know where I can find out.
Okay.
CompuSport.
From CompuSport.
Doug Deitel did a lot of uploading of members in the USBA to CompuSport.
That's true.
And if you go to the CompuSport bracket on the app, I'm not sure if it's online as well, if you click on that person's name, you can actually see what state they're from or whatever other information he's put in. But I know for sure state is on there. And it looks like Camilo's from Florida.
Yes, you are correct. from Sunrise, Florida. I think it's great that the USBA has begun working with the CompuSport organization. I think this will allow them to establish a ranking system and a points system.
And actually, Camilo qualified via the Europa qualifier in Florida. Yeah, I know Doug Deitel has been a big advocate for CompuSport as well, and he's worked with them, and and he's continuing to will continue to work with them, and he's hoping that any USBA sanctioned event will be run through CompuSport. It's something that he would like to build towards in the future, and then the USBA could have a more comprehensive ranking system.
Yeah, it makes sense. And oh, look at that little umbrella. Beautiful. It was a mistake, though. He was trying to hit the other side of the red.
I'll take the mistake.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a learning curve for some of those tournament directors out there that aren't really computer savvy and that are used to, they might be used to, bringing a printer with them to the tournament. and
Well, even
just
here at the Nationals, they still had a printer. They still used both like old technique of bracketing and then also giving the players the option to go and use their phone and what have you. I think come January, and I haven't discussed this with you yet, but I may bring up a second computer so that we can do a kiosk station for the players.
No, I overheard you talking to Doug Deitel about that, and that's great because then they can just look themselves up, look up everybody's average, and see where they stand in the competitions. No, and I think we should implement it for the A and B tournaments in January. We will be back here at Casino del Sol in January, providing coverage of the USBA Open events here. Oh, very close. And, that said, if you're interested in participating in those events, please, by all means, get your registration with the USBA up to date. It's only $50 to join the USBA
For the year.
For the year, and
keep in mind, I don't know if you remember this, but back in September of last year, September, October, I believe they had already close to filled up for both tournaments. Remember?
Yeah, we did get a lot of players here.
No, I think they filled up
very quickly, within the first 3 months or 2 months.
Yeah, so if you're interested, and if I remember correctly, after the January tournament, Mason said he was considering opening it up to a bigger field as well, because the response was very good.
Yeah, the response was very good, and I think next year it'll be more added money. As you guys can see, the lighting has been improved tremendously. All of these lights were custom built LED panel lights, custom built by Thibodeau.
And now that the equipment is here and it's actually being stored in a storage facility, I believe on the casino premises, the USBA doesn't have to come out of the pocket as much or to do the following tournament. The tables don't have to be shipped, the lights don't have to be shipped and made and everything else. So hopefully there will be more money. And on that note, I think we've had some issues. Here's my soapbox, actually.
Soapbox.
I'm forewarning you guys. We've had several players in the final round complain about different aspects and not wanting to play on certain tables and not wanting to be on the stream, and no reflection on us by any means, if I might say so. Whether the table's playing a little different or whatever the case may be. Maybe they just played bad on the stream and they don't want to be embarrassed again. But what they fail to realize, especially if you're a top player, that if you're not playing on the stream table, the exposure for the sport, for the USBA, isn't necessarily going to be there either on the live stream or on the archived YouTube videos. And if that's the case, the companies that are sponsoring the USBA, or even the companies that sponsor the individual players, aren't as likely to put in as much money because they're not going to see the value. So when a player complains and say that they don't want to be on a table, they're not just hurting themselves, they're hurting the sport. And it's a sad way to be. It's a sad way to have something that you say is your passion and something that you love, to treat it in that respect.
Well, I'm going to stop you there because I see your point of view. And yes, these companies that are sponsoring, like Aramith and Simonis and Gabriel's, Tiger Products, McDermott, they all, Checchio, they've all pitched in to sponsor this event. And part of that sponsorship is the exposure that the live stream gives them. Rather than argue what's right and what's wrong, I just want to tell everybody out there that this isn't really going away. And in the future, if you wish to participate in these events, please remember that these events are being streamed, and that by entering these events, you're sort of like waiving your right to have your likeness used for further promotion of the sport and of these events. And that's really it. Whether you think it's wrong or right is really a moot point. I think Geraldine's disappointed only because we found out at the last minute that these people didn't want to be streamed, and they were for reasons that they were for nothing to do with, like she said, no reflection on us, just that they didn't want to have their likeness on YouTube. Well, I'm sorry. In the future, it's going to be basically you're going to be signing a waiver.
Here's the thing that the players don't or fail to realize is, okay, let's take it outside of the USBA. Let's say, okay, maybe you don't care how much money is added. Maybe you base your livelihood, if you're a professional level player, on the sponsorships from other companies. If I was a professional player, I'd be like, put me on the live stream table, and I'd take those numbers and I would go to my sponsor next year when I sign a contract, and I'd be like, this is how many streams I was on, this is how much exposure I had for you, maybe we should up our sponsorship.
And that's actually another point that I'd like to make. I actually have plans to discuss this with the board of the USBA, that if, even though there are certain companies that sponsor these events, that if there is a professional player who, participates in these events that is sponsored by someone outside of the companies that sponsor us, that you have the right to have sponsor mentions. So in other words, if you come in and you're sponsored by Molinari, that it's perfectly within your rights for us to say that you are a Molinari sponsored player, and that we would be willing to advocate for your sponsors as well as the sponsors that are attached to our events. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes plenty of sense. And I mean, it's disheartening or disappointing that a player would elect not to be on the stream. I don't know.
Oh. So can we get back to the match?
Tony's playing very well.
I think he's confident now. He's been through the gauntlet today, and
He has, and on the stream table through the gauntlet.
yeah, he's had some tough matches.
But right now, he's at 11 points in 6 innings. He's starting out great.
Look at that, a little bit of help.
And even Camilo at 5 points in 6 innings.
Question in the chat room: will we have table referees in the future? I think it'd be nice to have a referee sort of program with the USBA, but why don't we table that question for later?
Well, I'll give you a reason. In order to have table referees, in order to have scorekeepers, you either need volunteers, or you need to be able to pay somebody to do it.
Yeah.
You pay somebody, you're taking out of the prize fund. You take out of the prize fund, the players complain. What's the solution?
Well, let's not say the players complain. Let's just say it's not fair to the players.
Is it not fair?
Not necessarily fair.
I think it's fair. I'd say
not when it's on a very low budget right now, so nice shot. Only two. Sorry. Score correction. It's actually 12-5, not 12-6.
And I know it seems like I'm being negative about it. I'm disheartened right now, and it's because I love the sport. I mean, you know that. I love the billiard events. I love to watch them. I love, I love when we get to stream them and be a part of them. And I see a promising future for them.
Anyway, despite all of the the rough edges, let's just put it that way. I'm thrilled to be here. I'm thrilled for these players that that we've been able to be a part of this. And I, for one, I'm looking forward to January, to the Open A and B tournaments.
Me too. Are you considering playing in the B tournament?
I don't know. Are you going to run the stream?
I
Are
don't
you going to
know.
be the tournament director? What's going to happen? What's going to happen?
We shall see.
Well, we shall see.
We
Yeah.
shall see.
I don't know if I'm ready, I don't know if I will be ready by January. I'd have to put in some time.
It's like having kids, right? You're never ready.
Yeah. I mean, I ran 5 yesterday. I couldn't believe it. Toshi couldn't believe it. I don't think you could believe it either. That was a nice shot.
You know, in every tournament, someone has to come in last.
Yeah, so there's only one champion, and someone always comes in last. I mean,
So,
it's just
you
a
know, and
natural order of things.
I didn't Darwinism. I didn't look at the flights to see who the last place finisher was of the tournament. Not that it's important, but whoever that may be still came out to play. You know.
Yeah. Sorry.
And I'd love to see more players play, you know, especially in the January one where there's a B tournament and an A tournament. So you have the opportunity to play players, if you're a lower skill player, who are maybe a little more equal to you. And then if you so choose and you want to take your chances at playing in the A tournament where it's A players or lower, you have that opportunity as well. And it's a beautiful venue to come to. It's a beautiful hotel. And
Yeah, and Hector Ocampo won 27 grand on a slot machine.
Daniel.
Oh, sorry. The viewership's low, don't worry.
Yeah, maybe he didn't want those people to hear.
Yeah, maybe the bill collectors have called. Hector, congratulations. Yeah, actually, that's true.
And then, you know, in the last match you had what's his name?
Frank Torres.
And Craig Powers.
Powers, yeah. I was talking about him earlier.
And you know, the heart that Craig has shown coming out here and doing his best to take him down. And he's on the next table over playing Hugo Patino with 0 points.
Yeah, it's 26 to 0 over
Hugo
there.
has 26, and he's still over there smiling.
Yeah, Craig? Yeah,
Yeah.
he is. He is.
With his cool little pocket watch in his vest.
I know, he's so old school.
He's gonna have one of those little spy, what are those called? With the one eye. The one eye,
Uni, I don't know. Nice shot.
He'll come back with like a handlebar mustache that he'll like wax and
You're really having fun, aren't you?
because I could see him doing it.
Craig Powers breaks the ice. He's on the board with 1. Shh.
Ah, just missed.
Okay, I'm signing off now because I got hiccups coming.
I have a question.
Okay, what is it before I hiccup again?
When the ball is in the corner, is it a hard ball to hit, like the red ball is now?
It can be, yeah. It's what they might call a trouble ball.
It's funny because the red ball is in the same position on this table as it is on the table next to us.
Oh, interesting. That is interesting.
Looks like they're having trouble getting that red ball.
Yeah, I'm hiccuping, so I gotta sign up.
Then I can't see. And if anyone's interested, I'm not talking to you. If anyone's interested, Dennis Diekman, who's a avid supporter of the USBA, is looking to do a junior championship tournament in the year 2021, giving young players the opportunity 4 years to practice and learn the game. And he's challenged several professional U.S. players to take on at least one youth to participate in the tournament and to mentor them and teach them how to play. So if you're interested in that, if you're youth listening, or if you're a three cushion player who would like to mentor someone and you know a kid, you can contact Dennis Diekman at dennisdiekman@gmail.com. Camilo buried 3 balls into the corner. Come on, come on, come on. Just barely didn't get there. It was a great shot by Tony, though. Great effort. Hugo Patino defeated Craig Powers 35-3 in 12 innings.
Tell him this is the same shot Frank Torres shot earlier. It's a little easier even.
This is the same shot that Frank Torres shot in the previous match with force follow. So hopefully Tony was watching.
Say yes, he was.
Yes, he was. Looks like they're going to take a break now. The halfway score is Tony Ferrara 19 to Camilo Medina 11, and they're going into the 20th inning, or going out of the 20th inning. I'll give you some updates here. It looks like Tung Wen is 13-13 versus Robert Spicknall. And Mason on the table next to that is at 22 to Miguel Torres is 18. And Jae Hyung Cho is at 20 versus Frank Torres is 9. I'd venture to guess that Frank might be a little exhausted. How old is Frank? 74? I think I heard that Frank Torres is 74.
Is Casino del Sol. This is the soul of Tucson. There's magic in the air at this special place for fun. The place where fortune smiles, where Tucson comes alive. This is a heart that beats with excitement, with passion, with beauty. This is Casino del Sol.
Your audio's
Mm-hmm.
Dave B. That's not Dave Bond, is it? No. Is it?
No. Looks like the players are returning.
It's an ATM at the moment. Tony's playing confident.
Mm-hmm. Tony's averaging about a point an inning this game. He's got to feel pretty happy about himself. Ooh. That was a nice try. Camilo's struggling.
You're Carla's #1 fan, huh?
Camilo.
Yeah. What?
Funky Camilo Medina.
Okay, good match. Tony Ferrara looking very confident in this match. I think after 4 days of playing, uh, pro, yeah, you start to play better. It's just so I recommend if you go into competition with people, try playing above your head. You know, and you'll see how it'll help you improve your game. Okay, so we are going to be done for the day, and we'll start tomorrow with Mazen Shuni versus Miguel Torres. If that's not,
Pedro.
oh, Pedro Piedrabuena versus Mazen Shuni. First thing in the morning at 9:30, or hopefully a little later actually. Why do you say hopefully? Oh, yeah. Hopefully we'll start at 10, but we're starting at 9:30 technically, so
Hopefully, we'll have that match.
hopefully we'll have that match, yeah. Uh, anyway, guys, it's been great having you watch today, and we're going to take a well-deserved break for the rest of the evening. Please join us tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. It's been great having you. I want to thank our sponsors again, McDermott Cues, Aramuth Balls, Simona's Cloth, Gabriel's Tables, and Checkio for focus, concentration, and endurance. We're going to keep the camera on Frank Torres here, who's in a match with Jae Young Cho. So enjoy the rest of your evening, folks.